Siege outside the U.S. Embassy in Iraq may have ended, but the unrest could be far from over. Hundreds of troops have been deployed to the Middle East, more told to pack their bags for potential fallout for the already tense relationship. We are joined by Foundation for Defense of Democracy's research fellow Behnam Ben Taleblu. Behnam, thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Happy New Year.
I just want to back up a little bit. Happy New Year to you, too. How exactly were those demonstrators able to get so far and into the embassy? Where was Iraq in patrolling the situation and helping the U.S.?
Well, that's an excellent question, because there's even pictures floating on right now on social media that have, members of the Iraqi security forces in military fatigues. Some even have patches. If you zoom in closely, they could be part of different units, special units of Iraq security forces. So at best, to be very charitable to Baghdad, these security forces turned a blind eye. And if you look at the videos and you look at some of the pictures that have come out, they aided and abetted these people who swarmed the U.S. Embassy. And it's crucial not to call these people protesters per se, because really there were about 5,000 to 6,000 reported throughout Baghdad. And these people are part of Iran's agent of foreign influence. They're part of the pro-Iran network. And they're yelling death to America when there are hundreds of thousands of Iraqis since October yelling Iran out. So they're really a minority, but they're part of Iran's foreign network.
We have 5,200 troops in Iraq, more on the way. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo telling Special Report those troops aren't going anywhere. Iran wants the U.S. out of Iraq. Do you see that happening? Because this has to be a very intricate strategy that the White House needs to announce on how to deal with this conflict.
That's right. The White House needs to know how to do layering here. You know, it already is hardening some of its assets and facilities and adding more troops to the southern part of the Persian Gulf with some of the bases the U.S. has there. But Iraq matters, because Iraq is going to be one of those countries in 2020 where the Iranians are going to look to use low-cost tactics to have a high-cost infliction of pain on U.S. assets, interests, and allies. An embassy tax like that would just happen can be expected to continue in the future. So sending in more troops is a good signal of resolve. The question is, will it be enough to deter the Iranians and the Iran-backed militias in the country?
Morgan Ortega, State Department spokesperson, says, don't confuse the president's patience with weakness. What is the appetite for conflict in an election year?
Well, fortunately, no one is talking about a direct conflict with Iran, and the president, every time he is talking about layering on more sanctions, which is the primary tool of this maximum pressure campaign that is being very successfully and skillfully wielded against Tehran, that is a non-kinetic tool. It's a non-military tool. But the U.S. has been absorbing, as you said, Morgan Ortega said, much Iranian escalation for the past 6 months. The reason Iran is escalating is because these sanctions are so effective, and Iran remains committed to an ideological and revisionist foreign policy. So in 2020, Washington needs to stay the course, and when necessary, push back against the Iran-backed groups in countries like Iraq and Syria with requisite force.
Behnam, thank you so much for your perspective.
My pleasure.
We really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Have a good day.